So, first things first, Anneke.
Yes.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Cool.
So, what I want to start with is The Gentle Storm, which is something you did with Arjen. What was the mindset after that album was completed?
Actually, the mindset was heavy music.
Okay.
Because, like you said, The Gentle Storm is me and Arjen Lucassen. So we made this album, which turned out better than we expected, and it was well received. And Arjen, he doesn't tour. So, and I said, this album is so nice, and I want to tour with it because I love touring. And so he says, okay, I'll help you put a band together for the sake of like 1 year's worth of touring. And we did, and after a while I realized we have such a kick-ass band for this album, and I knew Arjen was going to go make an Ayreon album after Gentle Storm, and I was going to make solo album, and I was just thinking for a long time I want to make my own metal rock album. And so I thought, if I want to do that, I have to do that with these guys because they're such great players, and they're all stars, right? We have all these guys from the other bands, well known, and we have this beautiful band. And we have Joost van den Broek. He was playing keyboards, and he's also a fantastic producer. So at one point I asked him, like, would you produce this album if I do this? And the guys, would you play in a new band with me? And they all said yes. So here we are. We made an album. We recorded an album, and it's now finished, almost out. And I'm extremely happy with it.
And you say you had wanted to do an album, a more progressive metal album, for some time now.
Yeah.
Is that because of the other solo work is a little bit softer and is a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason, like the last 10 years, which I've been doing my solo career, I did everything. So I did some lighter solo albums, some rock, pop-oriented solo albums, but I did some classical music, I did children's theater play, I did, I work with a lot of different people as well. And for some reason, I wanted to like sponge that all in and do this and get inspiration from it and do everything. And now I feel like, okay, I need more clarity. I want to make a metal album, but I also want to do some acoustic things. Let's just split it up in, make a band, for once and for all, band name, VUUR, make a band, do everything, hopefully with the same people under this name, which is heavy, and do my solo acoustic stuff, my theater work, all under my own name. So there's a bit more clarity because I felt I needed to concentrate more on one or the other, because usually I do like 3 things at the same time. And frankly, I was getting physically super tired, like I couldn't do it all at the same time anymore. So, and it needed to be done, yeah.
That's an interesting point, because you mentioned earlier on you love touring, and then you have all these side projects. Anathema you play with, Devin Townsend, obviously, and all these people. So is it difficult to find time to kind of relax and?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. I never took the time. And somehow I'm like a puppy. I'm always like saying yes to everything, and I love singing, and I love touring, but also working with these other people. And so, but I kind of forgot to sleep or to take care of myself. And last year, around this time, I was very ill. So I was in bed for weeks and weeks on end, and just my body going, like, this is it. And I needed to, kind of get back on my feet and then really make a decision, like, okay, I should say no once in a while, and really concentrate on what I'm doing. So also that what I'm doing is going to be really, really good and all that it can be. So, and that feels very good and accomplished now with this album. I took a year off, formed the band, wrote the music, recorded, and I have this really big, good thing now.
And that period when you say you were ill, and Was that a very reflective period? Because you all of a sudden have some time to think and have to do so. So what did you notice about basically what you've been doing the past 10 years and what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so good point, because you are usually alone in the bed or on the couch thinking. Because anything else, I couldn't even walk to the kitchen and back, you know. It's like I was totally crushed. And then I was thinking, actually I was happy with whatever I did in the last 10 years, you know. I was happy to be so accomplished and that, you know, I built something that is really worthwhile. But I knew that change is inevitable, you know. And so that felt actually rather good and almost therapeutic, like to make a decision to wipe, you know, a year clean. Because usually when you make a record, you do like 2-3 things on the side at the same time. And it felt okay to not do that, and it felt free. So yeah, I think that's also, apart from not feeling too well physically, it was also a good time to reflect, yeah.
Did you write a lot in that period?
No.
Not at all?
No energy, no.
Okay.
And nothing, really nothing.
Okay.
Just sleep, yeah. And then I went, after a while I went on my own to Greece, just by myself, to sit in the sun, to get some energy. And I was still a little bit ill then, but I took a plane and I was on the beach and by myself, and there was no tourists and nothing. So I just walked. And I started walking about 1.5 years ago, started walking long distances just to clear my head. Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay.
And so once you felt better and you took these long walks, so does all the inspiration then come back?
Yeah, it does come back. And the beauty about inspiration is, if you ask for it, it'll come to you. But you have to be open, you see? If you have 10 things and projects at the same time and it gets blurry, after a while, I didn't have this problem for the last 10 years, but now it occurred. And I feel like when I'm walking, usually I think about a lot of things and I write down a lot of things. And yeah, that works, yeah. But I like traveling, so I like being in airplanes, I like being in trains, but also to be moving around is also walking, is also moving around. And then you're in nature or in a city and you feel, you know, the air. And that's also very inspiring, yeah.
And you mentioned, traveling and cities, and obviously this album has a connection to traveling and cities. So when was this idea born? When did this idea come to you?
Actually a long time ago, for like years, kind of traveling around. You kind of visit different cities again and again because you tour with every album. And every time you come back to a city, sometimes you say, this is what it feels like when I'm here. And sometimes this feels uncomfortable. Oh yeah, this is an uncomfortable city and this is where I feel home. And I'm always inspired to write when I travel about something else. But for a long time I thought, why not write about something, why not write about the city itself? And so I thought about the concept and write about cities. But it was always in the back of my mind. And now with this metal band, with, you know, progressive music, long songs, epic music, epic sounds, I thought this really fits writing about epic cities with this sound, you know. So I just put the two together.
What was the first city that you thought of once you said, okay, I'm going to go for this idea? The
first city I wrote about was Istanbul. Okay. Yeah, it's a beautiful city. Yeah.
So yeah, what connection or what mood does this city conjure up?
Istanbul is for us, of course, as a visitor, is very romantic, beautiful, you know, magical city. The thing is, when you live in Istanbul, it's not that easy, right? Life in a big city it can be harsh. But as somebody who is just popping in and out of a city is a whole different thing. But I like to portray like a balance between those. Like I love the balance between darkness and light and beauty and ugliness and all these, you know, contradictions I like to put together. And if I come to Istanbul, actually sometimes I see cities as like entities or characters, and I see Istanbul as like a strong warrior with a sword helping you, rescuing you. So it's all this all the lyrics are very poetic. So Istanbul is for me a warrior, you know? Yeah.
But this because you say you have this image with it. So does that influence the lyrics and kind of the direction the music goes in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you just start writing music for a song, and at one point early on in the writing process of a certain song, you think, yeah, this is going to be the Istanbuls, or this is going to be London. Oh yeah, this is, you know. And then I start writing the lyrics, so it will kind of gradually builds up.